Hey guys, so I have a very big decision I need to make in my career. Which practice area I need to qualify, into as a solicitor is a really tough decision, to be very honest with you. So far, I've tried 4 different practice areas. In my first seat, I tried tax. In my second seat, I tried competition and trade. In my third seat, I tried a corporate seat, private M&A, and now I'm in financial services and regulation. Honestly, they all have their merits, but it's very difficult. You need to pick something that you want to commit for the rest of your life as a lawyer, because once you pick a particular practice area, it's very unlikely that you will practice other areas of law. So that's why I feel like I'm kind of at this stage where I'm a bit clueless as to which particular path I want to go into, because it really affects my future employability, whether I can work internationally very easily, given that I'm an international candidate as well. I want to travel a lot. I want to work in different places when the chances come up. So I find it really hard to pick which seat I want to qualify into. Quite frankly, I definitely have considered this question for a while now, and I know personally at the moment I prefer either competition and trade or private M&A. However, it's still a really hard decision. You will understand as well later on in your career if you are going to pick your qualification option. I don't want to discourage you guys, but I think, all right, after being a trainee solicitor for a year and a half, I kind of recognize that I may not necessarily want to be a lawyer forever in my career. Not sure whether this is a hot take, but for me personally, I know that lawyer is an amazing profession. And I personally love a lot of aspects of it. But at the same time, I know I'm the kind of person who have other interests, who may have other pursuits, which are not necessarily law related. First of all, one thing I personally recognize is that moving forward, I may not necessarily want to be a lawyer forever. I'm not saying I'm not going to be a partner as well, if there's this chance, right? But I'm just saying, I know my personality or my interests well enough to know that I may not necessarily want to pursue a legal career for the rest of my life, which is an important thing, because when it comes to a qualification option, right, I want to pick something that is quite transferable. Also, I can learn a lot from that particular position. At the same time, it can also open up a lot of doors and opportunities. So naturally speaking, I would say corporate M&A is quite a good option because it's very transferable, internationally speaking as well. Once you become a corporate M&A lawyer in London, I feel like it will be quite easy for you to move to other jurisdictions to work as a corporate lawyer, because the kind of the skill sets required is quite universal. You will also experience that when you're a trainee solicitor, when you are coming closer to your 3rd or 4th seat. A lot of recruiters will reach out to you. Okay, I'm not saying I'm like considering to leave my firm or whatsoever. It's just the natural process, right, of this legal market. Is people will reach out to you to ask whether you are looking for other opportunities. And I would say, even though you want to stick to your own firm, it will be too naive for you to not pay attention to what is going on in the legal market as well. So that's why I definitely also spoke to quite a number of legal recruiters to understand what the market is offering at the moment, what kind of candidates they're looking for. I would say most of the time, if you want to go into corporate law, they're always looking for corporate lawyers in M&A, private equity, finance, banking, etc. All those are some of the most popular practice areas. So if you want to qualify into all those areas, it's quite easy for you to find a new opportunity or to move across different law firms. However, I'm also thinking, is this something I really want to do with my life? Because quite honestly, when I studied in law school, right, I was kind of the nerdy type of law students as well. When it comes to any kind of research paper, assignment, like, you know, understanding the case law, research for the legislative, you know, provisions, that kind of thing. I was so, you know, excited as well. I would like look into all those like provisions and cases for hours, like without feeling tired, because you know, I was actually quite nerdy in a sense, right, when it comes to law. So I did have an interest in the academic aspect of the law. However, being a corporate lawyer more often than not means that you don't actually need that much legal expertise, because very often a corporate lawyer doesn't need to know Blackletter law that well. They have templates for drafting a lot of the corporate documents, board resolutions, shareholder resolutions. They actually don't really need to look at the law most of the time. Yes, sometimes they may coordinate with local councils and need to understand what kind of execution requirement is in that particular jurisdiction. But more often than not, you don't really need to pay any attention to the law itself. Is that really what I want? Because I have also been thinking that kind of, you know, that means I cannot be a nerd anymore when it comes to law, because I do love the Blackletter law. Also, one interesting thing is, because in the M&A department at my law firm, right, there is also a really strong growing China practice as well. There are lots of interesting cases and, you know, matters from that particular team. That is also something I want to take into account as well, because when I'm working in the M&A department at my law firm, it's not the usual M&A experience you can get at other law firms, because at other law firms you only get the like typical carve-outs, M&A experiences. But in my M&A seat, actually, I experienced some litigational matters as well. I experienced some Asia Pacific or China related M&A matters or corporate matters, which definitely enrich my whole training contract experiences. And that is something that I may not necessarily be able to acquire from other law firms. That is a very attractive option. However, as I mentioned, I was a nerd. I really love the Blackletter law as well. So it's really hard for me to just say, I'm gonna love M&A, you know, like if I go into it and, you know, work as a M&A lawyer for the long run. However, I can't deny that if I work as an M&A lawyer, I definitely open up a lot of opportunities, because firstly, the fact that I can work in basically many of the jurisdictions in most parts of the world. I can work back in Asia as well as a corporate lawyer. I can work in Europe, any place in like New York or like London. You know, it's just the corporate lawyer experiences you get. It's just so transferable to any other particular countries or any other corporate lawyer job, you know, outside of the UK. Because this kind of skill set required is really similar, and not only law related job as well. If I become a corporate lawyer, the kind of skill set I personally think those skills are really transferable to even other kind of occupations in the business industry or in the commercial industry. I can very easily work in other jobs and excel, because it's always about when it comes to corporate lawyer or M&A lawyer, right? It's always about coordination, cooperation with people, the kind of the people skills you have, with the matters you're working on. And I think all those skills I get from being a corporate lawyer, they're so transferable, and they just open so many doors for me. Even if I one day I think, okay, I need to stop being a lawyer, I want to do something else, I can still do it pretty easily if I am a corporate lawyer, because the kind of skills I learn are not restricted to law industry only. That's the really tempting thing, you know. That's why I find it so difficult to give up that corporate lawyer, kind of career path. Okay, actually, one additional point as well. Okay, money is not that important, right? But to be quite frank with you guys, being a corporate lawyer is definitely one of the most financially rewarding, area of law, right? Like, or professional, right? As a lawyer. Okay, when you start working in a law firm, you will realize that all the fees incurred in a particular corporate matter, all the money spent in a matter, they often come from the corporate departments. You can see a bill, maybe $1 million. I bet like 60–70% of the bills are generated by the corporate department. So naturally speaking, if you become a corporate lawyer, that is just where the money goes, quite frankly. And definitely it's a more financially rewarding occupation. If money is your key concern, right? Of course, not everyone is looking at those like money, or money is not everything for everyone. But for me, as I mentioned in my previous video, money is so important for me in a sense as well, because in the past, I didn't have the privilege of spending quite a lot of money in my life in terms of like even surviving by myself in a different country. So with that financial stability, that just helps me a lot. And if you work as a corporate lawyer, you are basically in demand, in the market. Many law firms will be able to offer a pretty good salary to corporate lawyers as well, which is undeniably true. As I speak now, I just feel like I'm kind of convincing myself to go into the corporate law path as well. But do I really want to go into that? I'm not too sure. On the other hand, okay, the nerdy side of me gonna speak for, the competition department. As I mentioned, I love Blackletter law as well. I could literally spend hours and hours looking into a legal issue or legal research task without feeling tired, because I have that passion of finding the answer to a legal question so badly that sometimes I just even forget about the time. That is kind of true. I remember when I was a law student, I did my dissertation, right, on contract law, etc. I literally spent hours and hours every day just researching for articles, reading the analysis of other scholars. And I didn't feel tired at all. I didn't even drink coffee back then. I didn't even know why. So I feel like the nerdy side of me kind of tell me that I love Blackletter law. Personally, I really love the competition and trade department at my firm. First of all, okay, back then, right, I did competition law. I was so obsessed with like those, like defining the market. Okay, like the products, what's the product definition, right? If there are two companies merged together. And for trade law as well, there's so many technical aspects of the trade law that I was like so interested in as well. Okay, let me put it this way. For corporate matters, right, it's all about coordination and cooperation with people. So I felt satisfied when I was on top of everything. I felt like I can coordinate everything so well and be so organized. That's where the satisfaction came from when I worked in corporate M&A. But when it comes to competition and trade, it's more often than not, I got the satisfaction from solving a problem, solving a legal questions, spending hours and hours researching a question and finding out the answer, and the associate or the partner gave you the compliment or gave you the recognition that, oh, you got the right answer, or you got the answer they need. That's where the satisfaction came from. And that satisfaction, I personally think, outweighs the satisfaction I got from, M&A department. Although I got a lot of satisfaction in M&A as well. However, I think that level of satisfaction you got from just looking into the analysis of a legal question, keep thinking about a complex problem, that kind of high level problem solving skills, I guess, is something that kind of, gives me that satisfaction I really wanted intellectually, If I go into competition and trade, I specialize in trade. I realized that it may not necessarily be that transferable, to be quite frank with you, because not a lot of law firms in London do trade law well. But my firm definitely specializes, or the top few of the law firms specializing in trade matters. But if one day I think that I don't want to be a lawyer anymore, that will be I will be in a difficult position, because I can't easily transfer my skill sets to other occupations. So that's something I need to consider. Although I personally am interested in competition law, right? Competition law is like quite universal, I would say, nowadays, because there is a growing competition law practice even in Asia Pacific region, that like all the European countries actually have a really strong competition law practice as well, and London, of course, and also the US as well. So actually, if I specialize in competition law, that definitely gives me a lot of flexibility as well in terms of working in other jurisdictions. But I don't know, it's tough. It's really tough, because I feel like, because I also kind of confine my expertise to competition law matters, right? Although I actually personally have a potential career goal, which is I want to be a professor. I want to be a law professor as well. I'm not sure whether I will change my mind in the future, but I've always thought about it as well. Like one day, maybe I want to be a law professor so that I can have the time I want, to do my thing. Because, okay, to be honest, I think back in university, I was pretty good at researching and writing, right? When it comes to dissertation, writing an article, publications, I was very interested in that. And so I always think that if I become a law professor, I not only can do something I'm pretty good at, and also I get a bit more free time as well. Because I think professor definitely has a much more flexible schedule compared to a corporate lawyer. Like, come on, guys. Actually, in that case, competition law will be a good option as well, because a lot of universities have competition law module. They need competition law lecturers, although based on my understanding, the academia is also another sort of competition. Only if you're from the top tier universities, where you did your PhD, then you will be able to actually compete in the academia market as well, because a lot of people do PhD, right? But there are not that many positions across the world when it comes to law professor, and whether you can get a permanent professorship as well, that is a really difficult thing to do, actually, and many people don't realize as well. But I spoke to a lot of professors, lecturers. I know that that's another level of competition as well. So it's not like if I pick academia, that will be an easy path for me. But I'm going too far. Actually, right now, my key decision is I need to, design private M&A, competition and trade. Oh, actually, it rhymes as well. If you were me, right, which one would you pick? Would you pick something that is transferable, financially rewarding, and give you all the skills that you need even in other industries? Or on the other hand, pick something you think you genuinely enjoyed doing and gave you the most satisfaction, but the career may not necessarily be that flexible. They may not give you that many options once you want to, like decide not to be a lawyer, or want to move out of the industry and do something else in another industry. I don't know how you guys do it when it comes to decision making. In the past, for example, back in Hong Kong, when I want to move to the UK, that was actually quite an impulsive decision as well. I did think about it carefully, but at the same time, I basically just followed my gut feeling at the time. I felt like that was the right moment for me to make a change in my life, so I did it. And that's how I end up here in my position now today. And I think I'm definitely that kind of person who trusts my own gut feeling a lot. That when it comes to a moment, I'll follow my gut and pick something that I believe will be the best thing for me. But it would be great if you guys can give me your advice or comment how you often come up with your own decision. Leave it in the comment section down below and let me know. And guys, what do you have any hard decision you need to make recently as well? Let me know, and let me know in the comment section. Maybe some people see that they will be able to help you as well. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel or follow my Instagram. I need to go back and think about this problem. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.